So today I'm going to carve out the river. This is a mill and it has river run, if you can see, and there's a wheel there that would roll while the water was running through. So I'm going to have a river running through here. It's going to be a frozen river because it's attached to the ice rink over there, but I have to carve it out. So I've drawn it out with a pencil, exactly where I want to carve it out. And I'm using a box cutter or X-Acto knife. And I'm just going to carve out a little bit of it because you don't want it too deep, but makes it more realistic if you carve it into the diorama instead of only on the surface. So it's going to be a bit tricky, but I'm not going to take a lot off. And it doesn't matter if the bottom is rough because typically bottoms are rough underneath rivers. So you got to be careful not to go deeper and deeper. That's the only thing with this. It's a little bit tricky. So once I've got it all carved out, then I'll paint it in a combination of colors. It's a bit of a messy job, but it will work. I've dug out the river and I've made a little pond for the farm animals. It won't be frozen, but the rest of the river probably will be frozen. Like scientifically, I don't know how that'll happen, but artistically you can do anything you like. So this will be a frozen river, but before I make it into like a rink and I make this into an open fresh pond, I need to paint it. And so I've chosen blue paint plus a dab of black because it's going to be looking a little deeper than it actually is. The darker the color, the deeper the river looks. So I'll just mix these two together. And you can see it's getting a darker blue all the time as the black is absorbed into the blue. And you don't want any of the blue left over because otherwise you're going to get two-toned colors, which doesn't really matter, but okay. So there we go. We're going to start dabbing. And we'll have to put a fair bit of paint on there because it's very porous right now. Once this is all painted, then I'm going to wait till it dries. And there's various techniques that you can use to make them frozen. I think I'll leave this little stream here also unfrozen because that doesn't make sense to have frozen water going towards the mill house. So that may stay fresh and running right there. So, and now on the other side of the trestle bridge, I'm just going to paint because this is plastered and I can't dig this out. So I'm simply going to paint a stream. And it will lead to the ice rink. So it doesn't have the same quality that the rest of the river will, but you won't be able to tell much when everything is in place. So now we're going to be working on the ice rink. I have a mirror here. It's not a regular mirror, it's a craft mirror. I purchased it at a craft store many, many years ago. It's by a company called Art Minds. has 4 little tabs on the bottom so that it doesn't sit flush on the surface. But right now it just looks like a mirror. So I'm going to actually try to make it look a little more realistic. So first of all, I'm going to mix some paints, and I'll be mixing paints that are just a tad lighter than the river. I want to put the black in for a little more perspective and then lighten it up with white. And let's see how that looks. Okay, it's a little on the light side, so I think I'm going to add a little bit more black, just for perspective. Yeah, it's a little too bright. Now you don't want it looking too deep. The darker the paint, the deeper the pond looks, the mirror will look. You don't want it too deep because that's an uncomfortable feeling when you put people on an ice rink that looks really, really deep. It's too much uncertainty, so let's go ahead and, oh, that's lovely. That's exactly the shade I was looking for. Add the ice sprinkles to give it an icy look. And we don't want it drying before then. So the idea is to try and work rather quickly. There, the sprinkles I've got is called glitter, and it's simply from a dollar store. So I'm going to spread those on. You can always add spray snow as well, but I like this look, this glittery look. You can be generous with glitter. Now that's not going to look icy enough. So I think I'm going to see if I have some spray snow and use some spray. I added some spray snow to the ice rink, and it looks a lot better. I put a few little pin marks in it, as if somebody had been skating on it with one of these pins. And it's in place. I will show it to you later. In the meantime, I had some of these bushes, little artificial bushes that came from a fake plant arrangement, and I took them out, and I want to use them on the diorama. Instead of just always evergreens, these are a nice change. So what I'll do is spray them with the spray snow and then sprinkle them with the glitter and let them dry. And they'll add a nice change to the diorama instead of all the evergreens. There. Now I'm going to show you how to finish off that river bed to make it look like a real river, and then how to winterize it into looking a little bit frozen. So I'm going to use this product. It's a product you can find in any hardware store or any Home Depot store. It's a silicone, it's a clear silicone. And then I've taken a small piece of cardboard, just the width of the river, so that I can smooth the silicone out. So you start by squeezing a little bit of silicone into the riverbed. And then you take the piece of cardboard and you smooth it out. Make sure that the cardboard is narrower than the edges of the river. And while it's wet, you really can't see it too well. But when it dries to a clear, shiny finish. It's really, really difficult to see when you're doing it this way. After you put the first layer on, it's probably a good idea to let it dry, and it probably won't dry for a day or so. Let it dry, and if you feel like it needs another coat, then at that point you could probably put on another coat. Now I'm going to landscape the riverbed a little bit. And many years ago I gathered this bag of stone that's just pea gravel. It lasts forever. And what I'm going to do is glue each one of these little stones to the rocky side. One final little touch. And that is to put a bit of snow on the stones. In keeping with the winter scene. And it's all these little tiny touches that make your diorama come alive.